It is currently sometime in May. I forget exactly which day. I know it's a Sunday though. And I'll leave from a week from today. Before I venture off to the Alaskan wilderness for who knows how long. So I have quite a bit of work yet to do on the van. Rearrange some things on the roof rack, balance out the weight. I have to strip the interior, run some coax for radios, put the interior back together, rearrange some things, trace some of the electrical faults, look into the fuel system. There's some goofy things going on in there. Pack this thing up with all my parts, and gear, and things to live on the road for a long time, and keep my life in order, all in one week. So, yeah, time to get started, I guess. The first task on this week's long list of things to do, placing the fuel pump and filter. This gave me some issues earlier. Pretty sure it's either one of these. I'll place them both. Once again, dig into my stash of spare parts. We'll see. It's pretty easy to replace. It's all in line right after the fuel tank here. It's got the line pinched off and goes back towards the engine in the rear. So, going to replace the fuel lines while I'm at it. They're a little crusty on the inside, so better safe than sorry. Currently draining the gas tank, emptying it right into the jerry can there. Got the fan to blow away the fumes. We got 5 gallons out. It was only at just under half a tank, so about 7 gallons maybe. Well, finally got the fuel pump and fuel filter and miscellaneous fuel lines replaced. It seems to run better. It isn't surging as much, like the fuel pump's going bad, so hopefully that fixes it. Still gonna keep that open as a spare, just because you never know what's gonna happen, and it still mostly works. So, by now I think it's time to probably strip the interior, pull all this out, and get the interior panels on the far wall, of course, to run coax for the CD. So I guess I get started on that. We got most of the interior stripped out. Got the door panels and the seat off, and wiring the CB here. Now I got the cover for the AC unit down. I pulled it out. We got the compressor, not the compressor, the evaporator I pulled out, and the blower fans for weight reduction. Over here you can see very cool. One of the plants in Austria, some people had signed the van, so you can see Super Mario, if this thing focuses. Super Mario signed this in January 8th, 1991. So that's very cool. A nice piece of history I'm keeping up in here. The connector soldered up to the antenna here. Just run it to this intake vent. And there's this rubber grommet here for this drainage hose for the evaporator. Nice grommet runs through there, tucked up over here, and it's going to follow the same path as the other coax I have for my dual band rig, alongside the body and through the seat to the radio. Discovered where my mystery coolant leak was coming from in the rear heater. Got this adjuster screw, little valve thing. The top just broke off. Never adjusted it, never touched it. It was cracked, and when I touched it, it just came apart in my hands. So I got the rest of the valve screw pulled out. So I'm just going to stick in a bolt, throw some thread tape on it, and I'm going to call it good. I should keep it from leaking. I don't really care if this works right now. I've never got it to work because something hit the wiring to the blower fan and never messed with it, so it's good enough for what I'm doing. Next thing we'll do the interior part is paint the floor underneath the driver's footwell again. You can't see, but there's some holes in the floor. Already welded one up a few years ago. There's some rather disgusting welds, but yeah, seems to be a common issue. I think there's a leak coming in through the seam up here, I believe, or somewhere else. The water drips down here, it soaks in, and yeah, this whole thing needs some paint love, but I can't afford it right now, so we're just going to send it. Got most of the interior back together after running the coax. Still have to put things in there. I did take it for a test drive this afternoon. Unfortunately, the fuel pump did not seem to fix the issue with the surging at high RPM, which leads me to believe is quite possibly this fuel pressure regulator now, which of course I have a spare part for. Stealing from the spare parts box again. The reason that leads me to believe this is that it's common for when these fail. There's a diaphragm in here. This says you have the fuel here. This is just a vacuum. I took the hose off as a vacuum to the intake. Pulled that off. If you smell gas in there, it usually means the diaphragm in there is bad, and there's raw fuel getting into the intake, and which will mess up things like power and fuel economy. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm just going to replace it while I can, and see if that makes it any better. If not, then it's probably some ignition or EFI issue. So, oh, and I leave in 3 days. It is currently Thursday, and I need to leave by Sunday morning. So, coming down to the wire. Anyways, so we replaced the fuel regulator. Drove it a bit last night. Seems to be better, mostly. Except for it doesn't when it's cooled down. So probably wasn't really a fuel pressure regulator, but it doesn't hurt to change it. So it leads me to believe something with the ignition system. But anyways, if I get it warmed up properly and drive it a while, it seems better. So we're just going to send it. I leave in 2 days. I don't really have time. I just have to pack this thing up. I get all this junk. You see here, plus a little bit more. All in here. It's going to take a while. So we can speed things up with this. After a few test drives, decided that it's a bit much having the kayak on there. The van is about as aerodynamic, much the same way rocks float to begin with, and slapping on the 12-foot kayak on top, it was kind of pushing it. Got it fairly loaded down and not aerodynamic, so yeah, can barely do 60. Now I took it off, I can barely do 65, which is, I can live with that. I'll get way better mileage too. Not as much if I didn't have that unit up there, but I'll live with it. So get any space to sleep up here again. So yeah, live and let live. I was spending more time behind the wheel than in the kayak anyways, so well. What's the word?
Should I be concerned? So far, 2 bolts I've checked have been loose a little bit.
Well, I'm going to take a 40-hour test drive here. This guy.
Oh my God. What have you been eating, John? Weeds. This guy fed me chili, and Cooper started crying when he ate it.
Yeah, he did.
It was hot. It was white people.
There is another bolt on
Yeah,
this,
it's currently 11:16,
and
But I don't know if I can get to
I don't
it.
think
we leave in what?
Huh? Oh,
7 hours?
wait, can I borrow this?
no.
Let me borrow it.
Cooper's 4Runner's falling apart already.
Here we go, Cooper.
For some reason, Toyota engines just fall apart.
Sounds like a
This shit
Toyota
comes
problem.
not gonna lie.
I don't know, I'm
So-
checking it.
She's a little loose, but we're doing our pre-check before we hit the Group B rally stage 1.
It's alright, I'm already leaking coolant and oil in the
We
van.
had one
We made
type
sure
bolt.
there was nothing in the engine when we cranked it over. And we filled it full of oil.
The coolant reservoir too. Gotta top off the coolant too. Already leaking, so that's normal. Oh, crap.
gotta pull the thing again. Pull the thing again? Yeah, you gotta check his car soon.
And I got to top out the oil too. So yeah.
Trash on the ground.
It's gonna be like we went to Minnesota. Well, we were up for like 20 hours driving 10 hours straight.
Gotta get up.
You held my.
He took it off?
You gotta weld things up here.
Oh. He's got little bitty tan lines.
He does have such. He's got.
I don't
really
need
good
more
tan
zip
lines.
ties.
It's actually they're more like pale lines.
I can't believe how tall this thing is right now.
I think it'll go under bridges.
Oh,
It just-
yeah.
It won't be able to go in
Yeah,
the
he
parking
said he
garages.
measured it. It's only like 8 feet. It looks.
You just
so
can't go into
much
parking
smaller.
garages.
I couldn't really to begin with. So
Oh really?
No.
there you
Dude, I can't believe he's still on it, dude.
My van was marketed
go.
as
Scooby's ready.
the garageable van back in the day. 'cause
Garage.
The van's ready. Are you ready, John?
I'm on the dash too. I'm not ready.